Well, I guess we need,
I have to move to a different chair.
There is some.
I don't.
Big Al. I can't see the clock on that one.
Having dinner with the solicitor.
Yeah. I'd like to call this school board meeting to order on December 4th at 8:58. Dr. Walton, reading the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Sanford? Here. Mrs. Garment? Yes. Mr. Garment? He is here.
No, he left.
Did he leave? Okay, sorry. Mr. Karpinski?
Here.
Mr. Michaels?
Here.
Mr. Stepp?
here.
Dr. Walter?
Here.
Dr. Hartman?
President.
Mrs. Weist?
Here.
Ms. Homo? Ms. Murphy?
Here.
Ms. Carrasco?
Secretary's report, we have, I believe, 2 minutes to review from November. Anybody care to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I would make a motion to approve the minutes for November 6th and November 13th.
Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Sanford. Any comment, questions on the minute? And I ask that we take all those in favor vote by saying aye. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign? No? Unless it's financial, we can do that on every vote. Next, I'd like to ask for a motion to adopt the agenda as printed this evening.
Motion. Motion to
Mr.
adopt.
Stepp and Dr. Walter seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Financial reports.
Of course, you have your budget transfer. We have a transfer from the regular ed program to the guidance program, $825, and that's for the computer software for a choices program at the high school.
Do I need a motion to close?
It's just,
Oh, okay.
and then you have to go.
Okay.
I did have a question about one bill, so.
Should we have a motion and a second before we're having
Sure.
discussion? Is that a motion, Dr. Walter?
Sure.
Second? Second. Now we would entertain discussion.
Just one bill, 42431. It's a legal bill.
Marshall Vanity, Warner Coleman, and Goggin. That is a firm that we're dealing with, the PA labor practice that we have discussed.
I could further enlighten if you'd like. This is a firm that was appointed to the school district by the insurance company as a routine insurance company defense. It's not where the board has discretion of who they want to use or how they get paid at a certain point. We're done paying for it, but this is our requirement to pay under the insurance policy that you have.
We're paying a percentage of their fee with the insurance company.
I think that if Dave would be here, he'd probably explain that this is within our deductible payment that's required. So for a while we pay them, if it's ongoing beyond that we don't, but it's a routine covered matter by the insurance carrier.
That's your understanding.
That is Susan.
I just have a question. The architect, is that, I'm sure that's in line with the agreement we have with them, but is that based on a percentage of work complete, or is that a certain time frame that we'll be getting those?
That's based on the completion of work.
The percentage
To
of,
this
because
point.
we're at this one.
To this point.
Any other questions? On the bills or any of the financial reports, transfers? No? The roll call.
Dr. Walter?
Yes.
Dr. Hartman?
Yes.
Mrs. Sandstorm?
Yes.
Mrs. Garman?
Yes.
Mr. Karpinski?
Yes.
Mr. Michaels?
Yes.
Mr. Step?
Yes.
Mrs. Weeks?
Yes. Down to public comment, and Kyle, he slipped through the cracks the first time, so we apologize.
It's understandable. I apologize for the laptop. My printer decided to not allow me to print. Members of the board, I come to you tonight asking one simple question as one of your students. Who can I go to when I need answers? Our school is in a constant state of disarray. Students don't know what's going on. Teachers are afraid to speak their minds. And no answers have been given. The situation with Principal Jackson has been the forefront of discussion, and much of the confusion we face as a school, not just amongst the student body, teachers and administrators included. Also, this brings up another concern. In a time when we need more trust and understanding between the top and the bottom of our school district, where is the information upon Superintendent Patrick Kelly's suspension? What makes his suspension any different from the suspension of Holly Judge?
Amen.
The biggest issue I'm here to present is that of, let's use the word misinformation for now. I hate to use the word lie. When I had approached the board last, I had asked to receive a confirmation of the existence of a policy that required any adult working in the district to contact you, the administration, or Mr. Kelly for permission to contact the authorities. I was informed that, in quotation, no policy like that exists or has ever existed, written or expressed. Unfortunately, this leaves a bit of a discrepancy. Mr. Jackson informed myself, and no offense to Mocker, that such policy existed when we were called into his office the week after the October 31st incident. Mrs. Gyerson also told the authorities that such a policy existed when asked why they were not contacted. You can see that in your police report that you have, Dr. Hartman. I have the police report with me, if any board member would like to see it tonight, since according to recent expressions, quite a few members of our board have no idea what is going on around here. That in itself is an extreme problem, and for no one else to see it is a problem in itself. The point I'd like to bring up, did Ms. Gyerson lie to the authorities? Because I find that hard to believe. Did Jackson lie to his students, which of itself is an unsettling problem in our building? Or did the board present misinformation? Each of these outcomes is a major issue and shows the weakness of our district as a whole. I also was given information from the board that the pellet pistol wasn't visible while the perpetrator was near the premise of Beck Elementary. Yet again, the police report says that at least 2 different teachers and a parent saw and that they had correctly identified as a gun. The parent, as stated in the report, even asked if anyone had yet called 911, which was what should logically be done in that situation. Here lies another discrepancy that has been brushed away. My concern I wish to give tonight is that factual data become smeared and distorted between the board and the student body and the taxpayers behind it. I also find that these issues hinder what would be normal discussions between students and parents and those that represent them. One issue that's much, smaller in detail is I'm here to support my track coach, Dave Evans. He's a great man. Last year was my first year in track, and I very much enjoyed it. It's a sport that I really find a lot of self-accomplishment in. And for you guys to pass up on him is a tragic mistake. He has the experience and he knows what he's doing, and I think he's the best person for the job. Unfortunately, things like that are overshadowed by more severe problems. And I hope that you, as well as many other members of the student body, the taxpayers, your teachers, and other administrators, can see this as a problem, and something must change. Thank you.
Just a few things. Ooh, a little awkward, isn't it? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Amber Murphy, and I am a student representative on the board, obviously. There's a few things going on in the school right now that I feel that are really important. First off, the Shikellamy School High School, will be hosting the district chorus in about a month, I believe. And we're really excited for it. There's gonna be 160 students from all different schools participating from it. And we currently are in desperate need of housing for these students. We'll have them for 2 days. It's nothing difficult. If you're interested, contact Amy Reinert, who is the choir director, or any student who is in the Shikellamy choir or chorus for information. It's a big thing for us, a very big positive thing, and we're really excited to host it. Speaking with that, the choir concert is actually coming up on the 14th, so come out and watch us all sing. It's really great. We're doing a really great job. Other than that, just remember that there's positives. I can promise you that. And I know it sounds really hard to believe. We're all being overshadowed, but I promise there's some really bright things coming for this school, so just look out for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Solicitor report.
No report.
Brings us to business activities committee, Mr. Michael.
Thank you. I would like to recommend in the form of a motion under item 9, I would like to take subsections A and C and recommend in the form of a motion that we approve the trips and the transfers of funds that I believe everybody has looked through already. Are there
Is there a second to the motion for A and
I'll
C?
second that motion.
Mr. Kropinski?
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
The first two, the wrestling team, are these regularly scheduled events?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so these are,
They're tournaments.
there are tournaments that they go to every year?
Yes.
That's all I wanted.
Well, last year the wrestling tournament the wrestling team went to Nazareth
Yeah.
as their
This
first
year.
tournament. This year they're going to Wiley's.
Because-
But it is a regularly scheduled beginning of the year tournament.
So we have it budgeted in the.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Dr. Hartman?
Yes.
Mrs. Sanflo?
Yes.
Mrs. Garland?
Yes.
Mr. Karpinski?
Yes.
Mr. Michaels?
Yes.
Mr. Step?
Yes.
Dr. Walter?
Yes.
Mrs. Weeks?
Yes.
Okay, under item 9B, I would like to break this up, and I would recommend in the form of a motion at this time that we table the hiring of the boys and the girls track and field coaches for this evening.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Seaman. We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Sanflo?
Yes.
Mrs. Garland?
Yes.
Mr. Karpinski?
Yes.
Mr. Michaels?
Yes.
Mr. Step?
Yes.
Dr. Walter?
No.
Dr. Hartman?
Yes.
Mrs. Weeks?
Yes.
Okay, then also under 9B, we have a volunteer Ivy League wrestling coach. And I would make the form of a motion that we approve that at no compensation.
There's a second?
Second.
Any discussion? The roll call.
Mrs. Garland?
Yes.
Mr. Karpinski?
Yes.
Mr. Michaels?
Yes.
Mr. Step?
Yes.
Dr. Walter?
Abstain is number
Dr. Hartman?
Yes.
Mrs. Sanflo?
Yes.
Mrs. Weeks?
Yes. That's to number, oh, is everything for you, Mr. Michael?
That's it. All of them.
Okay. Mrs. Garland, number 11, Education Committee.
Yes, I would like to take A and D together, recommend them in form of a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and second, any discussion? On any of those items? No? Roll call, please.
Mr. Karpinski?
Yes.
Mr. Michaels?
Yes.
Mr. Step?
Yes.
Dr. Walter?
Yes.
Dr. Hartman?
Yes.
Mrs. Sanflo?
Yes.
Mrs. Garland?
Yes.
Mrs. Weeks?
Yes.
All right, I'd like to take C, or the letter of agreement, recommended in form of a motion.
Wait a second, or not?
I'll second that motion.
All right.
Discussion, I think there's.
Yeah, I'd like to have some clarification on this, for if anyone here knows.
This is another contract agreement that we have with our 21st Century program, similar to the opportunities that they're providing through the YMCA, with the artist in residency, healing circus. They provide services for those students that in our after-school program.
Does somebody else do it now? I mean, are we changing providers, or are we?
No, it's just it's another contractor that we're bringing in to supplement the instruction for these students.
Okay.
But it deals with food?
No,
Well, why does
It's
it
food
say,
for thought. It's
Nutrition classes.
nutritional classes.
nutrition classes?
Yeah,
So it, so it does deal with only
they teach them
food?
about food
Oh.
and
All right.
diet.
Of which we don't have anyone now doing that.
Correct.
It says it's cheaper than our current service.
Yeah, it leaves us with the indication that we do have someone doing that.
That's why I was
Now
wondering if we
providing
were
this-
changing services, or
We're
not
still
changing.
using that other company as well.
they were just
Mr.
adding
Kelly.
another one.
Is this part of the 21st Century
Yes.
grant funds?
Yes.
But it
Yeah.
really isn't, we don't,
No, we have certain,
It's paid for by the 21st Century grants.
I got it, but we do not have someone providing this exact
No,
function, as
No.
though this leads us to
no,
believe.
we do not.
Okay, so it's an additional thing which will help people know the difference between a vegetable and a piece of cake. In essence.
It will teach our students how to better eat, plan, diet.
will it also help? Never mind. Does it take away from any of the services that the Century 21
No.
was currently providing?
No.
There was a lot for when we established it.
Correct.
And the same age group.
Yes. No.
Okay. Any other discussion or questions?
No, that's it.
Okay, roll call please.
I'm sorry. Mr. Michaels?
Yes.
Mr. Step?
Yes.
Dr. Walter?
Yes.
Dr. Hartman?
Yes.
Mrs. Sansone?
Yes.
That's okay. Mrs. Garner?
Yes.
Mr. Karpinski?
Yes.
Mrs. Weiss?
Yes. Everyone should have at their place the audit report from Forget and Kirkletter. I believe it was emailed to us a week or so ago. Hopefully everyone had a turn. Would you like to make a motion? I make the motion. Accept and approve.
Yeah, I'll move that we accept and approve the supervisor. It's posted for us to review and as reviewed by us.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Michael? Yes. Are any questions or discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Step?
Yes.
Dr. Walter?
Yes.
Dr. Hartman?
Yes.
Mrs. Sansone?
Yes.
Mrs. Garner?
Yes.
Mr. Karpinski?
Yes.
Mr. Michaels?
Yes.
Mrs. Weiss?
Yes. Nothing new on the negotiations committee, Dr. Hartman, nothing to report.
Nothing to report, Mrs. Reese. Thanks for asking.
Brings us to 14, business personnel committee, Dr. Walton.
So I believe unless anyone's opposed, we could take items under 14A through E together as a group. I'd like to present it as a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Stepp, thank you. Any discussion on any of the items under personnel? Hearing none, roll call please.
Dr. Walter?
Yes.
Dr. Hartman?
Yes.
Mrs. Sanford? Yes. Mrs. Garner?
Yes.
Mr. Karpinski?
Yes.
Mr. Michaels?
Yes.
Mr. Step?
Yes.
Mrs. Weeks?
Yes. Dr. Hartman, Policy Committee?
I would recommend approval of the following policies. This would be for a second reading as listed and posted, which would be board policy 00 up through the list of 217. That's my motion.
For second?
Sure.
Mrs. Garman? Any discussion?
I do have a question, just for clarity for everybody. Mr. Kelly, no changes of any type from the last reading?
No, no changes from the last reading.
Everything's the same as?
Everything is exactly the same as it
Approved the
was.
last time. Thank you, sir. I don't have any other questions, Mrs. Hughes.
Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Dr. Hartman?
Yes.
Mrs. Sanford?
Yes.
Mrs. Garner?
Yes.
Mr. Karpinski?
Yes.
Mr. Michaels?
Yes.
Mr. Step?
Yes.
Dr. Walter?
Yes.
Mrs. Weeks?
Yes. Mr. Michaels, would you handle property cafeteria in Mr. Garman's
That's
absence?
right, Mr. Gordon. Report. Oh, item 15A, I would like to recommend approve to accept the donation of carpeting, including installation at the high school conference room from Mr. John Sunbury. I would like to make that in the form of a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mrs. Sanford?
Yes.
Mrs. Garner?
Yes.
Mr. Karpinski?
Yes.
Mr. Michaels?
Yes.
Mr. Step?
Yes.
Dr. Walter?
Yes.
Dr. Hartman?
Yes.
Mrs. Weeks?
Yes. Moving on. Do we have any special announcements? No. Board members?
I just have one comment. About approximately 5 meetings ago, I asked us to entertain on an agenda school security issues like purchasing additional cameras, in-school suspension, considering reinstituting it, considering a safety officer, and issues like that. And I'd like to get past the rhetoric stage on that and get us to some action on it. And I was a little disheartened when our meeting was canceled last week.
Okay.
That would be an opportunity for us to discuss that.
The first work session in January.
If I may speak to that, my recollection consistently was that in January it would be on the agenda. Obviously, I'm not president, but I'm glad to see Mrs. Hoops. And it was part of the board goal, which was established.
Well, I think we had talked,
So if we're having a nice discussion here now, I believe that consistently been a permit we need to do it in January.
I never heard a date.
well, the process makes sense to do it in January because the funding options, as when we traditionally start the discussion of the budgetary season. So in other words, and even, you know, I have looked into, I've spoken to Linda Schlegel's office, I've talked to them about funding that's available. There isn't any for this year. So all of those discussions, at this point would be good to have, but we wouldn't be able to have any money to do those things until the following year. So usually we start with January. It goes hand in hand with what can we afford to do and what are our priorities and how we make them happen, so, absolutely.
I believe you were absent at the one meeting in November, is that correct?
I don't remember a date being set, that's why I bring it up.
Perhaps that was the meeting that we missed.
I didn't see that. I looked at,
Clearly.
it might be in the minutes, I looked through the minutes, I didn't see that.
Not everything's in the minutes.
Right, I know, that's why I wouldn't.
I can tell you clearly it was addressed.
And I don't know what the date is for a January meeting, but I would say it's absolutely,
I just would like it to be a
Work
priority, that's
session.
what I'm saying.
I'm sorry.
entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion.
Mr. Michaels, second. Mr. Rick. Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's it? Dr. Campbell,